Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. With Harry and Calvin at the helm, our friends are sailing the Rita B toward Key West, Florida. And as today's episode begins, Pop Beloved, stage doorman, is trying to tune the radio equipment as Mary looks on. And we hear Mary say,
"Well, I think you're moving your hand up and down the dial a little too fast, Pop. You don't give it a chance to pick up anything."
"Well, that may be. I'll try it a little bit slower here. Sound like a lot of foreign stations.
Well, you know, you're out here in the ocean.
That's right.
You're picking up radio waves from Africa, South America, North America, South America, Africa, North America, Europe.
From all over, in other words.
Yes, sir.
Right.
South America.
Are you keeping on the course, Calvin?
As far as I know, I am. Apparently. You see, there are no telephone poles to steer by. I think I'm going straight, but I can't tell.
One way we can tell is by looking at our wake.
What's that?
Our wake. Our wake.
Oh, I see. You mean the thing back?
Yeah, that's right. If it's straight, then we're going straight.
But I can't watch out forward and watch out back. Somebody will have to go out back and watch out back for me.
That's sure.
I don't have eyes in the back of my head.
So much for the local news. This is Roger Skipinus reporting over WFMF and WFMF-FM. We have a guest in the studio today, a very well-known Broadway producer who has a very important message to give to our radio listening audience. I'd like to introduce Mr. Greg Marlowe, secretly in love with Mary Backstage.
Thank you, kid. I come before these microphones with full trepidation.
That's a familiar voice. It's Greg Marlowe.
Dear friends of mine, the Backstages, who have established their name on Broadway,
he's talking about us,
on television, are reported missing. The last time I saw them, gosh, Mr. Roger, I forget just how long ago it was since I saw them.
I think you told me it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yes, well, it is. I was trying to pinpoint it exactly for the police just this morning.
Yes, it was 4 weeks ago.
The sad part is, of course, in Skunk Haven Harbor, Harry Backstage's hat was seen floating.
Well, by that, do you mean that you think something untoward has happened to Mr. Backstage?
They think something happened to Harry and everybody.
You think he's had a very bad accident?
Did Harry lose his hat?
Well, there's, of course, only guesswork now.
He sounds terribly
when somebody's missing, as long as 3 or 4 weeks, and the only thing you can find is their hat floating, then you have to, of course, put 2 and 2 together.
Oh, Greg thinks I've drowned.
I can't believe it.
We only had some way of contacting him.
How can we get a hold of him? You got a radio. Contact him, Pop.
And so our friends listen in amazement as they hear Greg Marlowe making an appeal over the radio station back home. You want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Greg say,
"Yes, any information will be rewarded with $5.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Here's a timely reminder for housewives from the makers of Einbinder Flypaper. Ladies, the time for spring house cleaning is upon us again. I'm sure you're remembering to do all those obvious yearly chores, such as putting new insulation in the attic, patching broken windows, and changing the litter in the cat box. But have you ever thought that your flypaper may need replacing too? Better check it today. And if it seems to have lost some of its original stickum, replace it with genuine Einbinder Flypaper, the brand you've gradually grown to trust over the course of 3 generations. Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Yesterday, as they sailed from the dry Tortugas toward Key West, Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin heard Greg Marlowe on their shortwave radio appealing for clues to their disappearance. Now, in Marlowe's office, Detective Al Toledo reports on his progress as we hear Greg say,
"What kind of progress do you have to report on today, Mr.
Toledo.
Well, Mr. Marlowe, I think I've made a little bit of an advance here. Do you see this hat?
Yes.
You know, after I got word at the House of Toast that they were last seen going down to the waterfront in Skunk Haven, I went to say, does this cigar bother you?
Yes, it does, as a matter of fact. I don't usually complain, but you're puffing it right in my face.
I'm awfully sorry, sir. Let me put it out here in this ashtray.
All right.
So I was saying, I went down to the waterfront, began asking questions, and I found this hat. Somebody had
Excuse me
picked
just a moment.
Oh, sure, sir.
Mr. Marlowe?
Yes?
She still works for you, huh?
Mr. Marlowe, somebody out here wants to see you. He won't give me his name.
Well, what kind of nonsense is that? Why wouldn't he give you his name?
Isn't that funny? Somebody
wait a minute. He
outside...
just gave me his card now. Mickle Bar Nelson. I'm sorry, Mr. Nelson. I misunderstood you.
Mickle Bar Nelson.
Why, isn't he the one who started the House of Toast in the first place?
House of Toast. Have him wait, please.
All right. I'll have him wait. Thank you, Mr. Marlowe, for answering my call.
My, she seems to be in a much better frame of mind today than she was last time I was here.
Well, I'm quick to answer her calls now. I don't ignore them like I used to.
I understand, sir. What bothers me is this really Harry Backstage's hat?
Let me see.
It's got HB in the inside there, stamped on the band.
And it's a regular Tom Swift-style cap that he always wore.
Right, sir. So I think I'd better follow this lead. The people who found the hat said they saw Harry and his wife and everybody else going aboard the Rita B.
Mr. Toledo, before you go, though...
Yes, sir.
Do you think it would be wise if maybe you went in the next room and kept the door cracked ajar and listened to my conversation with Mickle Bar Nelson?
Well, sir, do you have reason to suspect Mickle Bar Nelson of something?
Well, I have no reason... he has no reason to be coming here. That's what's confusing me.
I understand, sir.
And
well, I'll wait in there if you want me to, but...
No, I think maybe that wouldn't be...
I don't want the trail to get cold, you know.
No, that wouldn't be very ethical. If he says anything, I can pass it along to you.
Right-o, and I'll be on my way to the Dry Tortugas, because that's where they said the Rita B was going to sail.
Who said that?
The people down at the wharf in Skunk Haven. They saw the boat sail away with your friends aboard.
But, Wolf Larson never told people his destination.
And so, despite Al Toledo's new clue, Greg Marlowe seems to think it leads to a dead end. But you want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Greg say...
No, Mr. Nelson. That's a dead end.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. It's time again for Bridget Hillary and the news, the heartwarming, true-to-life story of a girl radio reporter who dares to tell the truth in her weekly broadcasts. As our scene opens today, Bridget's young son, Blodgett, is just entering the rehearsal room of the Amalgamated Broadcasting System.
Oh, it's you, Blodgett. I imagine I can guess why you're here.
I just came down to watch you broadcast, Mom. Gee, I'd love to watch you broadcast. You're famous, and you do such a good job, but... well, I just love to watch it.
1 minute to airtime, Miss Hillary.
All the kids at school say you're a reporter who dares to tell the truth in your hard-hitting weekly broadcast.
Blodgett, you might as well tell the truth. I know you've come here to try to persuade me not to run the story, exposing you as the leader of one of New York's most vicious juvenile gangs.
Gee, Mom, I don't belong to any juvenile gang. Between my cello and ballet lessons, I don't have time.
30 seconds to airtime, Miss Hillary.
Besides, none of the gang would ask me to join. They think I'm Mickey.
Blodgett, young terrorists like you are threatening our whole society. If my expose can get the leaders behind bars, I'll consider it a job well done.
Oh, I don't want to go to a reformatory, Mom. The other kids would make mincemeat out of a fink like me.
You're on the air, Miss Hillary.
You know what happens to cello players who go to the reformatory? You wouldn't want to turn in your own son on a bum rap, would you, Mom?
Don't make it any harder for me than it already is. No mother likes to see her only child do time, but as a journalist, my first responsibility must be for the health and welfare of the American people.
And so Bridget faces the most terrible task that can confront a mother, the job of betraying her son to the police. Be sure to be with us next time when we'll hear the juvenile court psychiatrist say,
Well, the kid seems normal enough, but the mother's got a fuse blown someplace.
that's in the next exciting episode of Bridget Hillary and the News. Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Today, we join Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin again aboard the Rita B as they continue sailing Captain Larson's pirate ship toward Key West. And in the wheelhouse, Calvin at the helm expostulates.
You know, there's nothing like a little salt air to whip up the old appetite. I'm getting hungry as a bear.
I was thinking the very same thing. It's been quite a while since we had anything to eat.
You know, looking at the wake of the boat, though, it looks like we're going pretty straight. I took a meander up there a few minutes ago, and I could tell that wherever we're going in a straight line.
Well, are we going in a straight line toward Key West, according to the chart?
Well, you read it.
Yep, we are. That looks fine to me.
It's still about half my thumb away, which means
About 65
about 65
miles.
miles, something like that. Yes, sir?
Well, of course, that's just an estimate. We have sailed some distance since we left the Tortugas.
Isn't it a good sign, though, when you see birds start coming along, trailing your boat? Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
Well, that's a pretty good sign. They either think we're nearing land or we're going to throw some garbage out.
Well, it could be. Speaking of that, I wonder what Mary's getting for dinner.
I'll go below and see if I can help her out and see if there's any action. I'll be right back.
All right. So, Pop, didn't it feel good, though, to be up here in the wheelhouse? You're kind of like in a world your own.
I feel like singing some sea chanties. Do you know any?
No, I don't know too many sea chanties. But, I mean, you know, you're so alone. It's a world that you can make yourself up here. You go this way, that way, we're over there.
Yeah.
And the sky is clear, not a cloud in the sky, a nice breeze.
Water in every direction.
I mean, who needs a house of toast back in Skunk Haven? This is the life.
Yeah, but I gotta say I do miss the House of Toast. I miss Broadway and the curtain and the excitement of the first nighting and all that stuff.
Of course, there is the nagging thought, too, that it isn't our boat, that probably legal authorities would think that we, stole it or hijacked it from Captain Wolf Larson.
Well, I know, but anybody who knows Captain Larson wouldn't take his part, I don't think.
Well, I mean, it was his boat, after all.
All right, Mary's got everything ready.
Oh, good.
All right. We all go at once, or do you want me to take over the wheel, Calvin?
Why don't you,
Somebody should stay here.
Let me just tie the thing this way, and we'll go straight, and we'll all get down and eat together.
That's a good idea.
I mean, there's nothing to run into out here, right?
No, of course not. Just wide open water. Here, I'll tie this side.
Okay. Now, let's go below and enjoy a sumptuous meal at sea.
I wonder what Mary has prepared.
I don't care. Just sit any place. Doesn't make any difference.
Right.
Just so long as Calvin sits there, he is captain.
We just realized that we're pretty hungry. I'll sit on your right hand.
No, you don't either. No, you won't.
Well, you're the captain. I'd like to sit on the right hand. That's done at sea.
I can't eat if you sit on my right hand.
So our friends, hungry as they are, prepare for their first meal aboard the Rita B, a meal prepared by Mary in the galley. You ought to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Calvin say,
Yeah, we hit something.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. We'll just say hello to a group, members of an automobile club from Des Moines, Iowa, I believe. They've just taken the WOR tour, and they're stopping in with us for a little bit. Let's meet one of them. I say hello to you, sir.
Prentice L. Bryden.
Mr. Bryden, this your wife here with you?
No, it isn't. It's my girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
How do you do?
How do you do? Here's a good question to ponder, Mr. Bryden, as a member of an auto club. Do you prefer driving in snow or sleet?
Well, what kind of a silly question is that? Who wants to sleep while they're driving?
No, not sleep. Sleet.
Sleet? You mean mixed rain and snow that freezes and makes the road hazardous?
Yeah, which do you prefer?
Well, I love them both. It's hard to choose.
You enjoy both of those?
Yeah, I suppose if I had to take one or the other, I think I like sleet just a little bit better than snow.
Sleet just shades out the other one, huh?
I think so, yes.
Well, let's see what your wife thinks. Mrs. Bryden?
I'm not his wife. I'm his girlfriend. He explained that to you.
Oh, right, I forgot. But you're a driver, too, correct?
Yes, I am.
How do you feel about this question of the day? Do you prefer sleet or snow?
What kind of a question is that? Who wants to sleep while they're driving?
No, sleet, not sleep. Sleet. I think you both misunderstood me. The question was, which do you prefer most to drive in, sleet or snow?
Well, to be perfectly frank with you, I don't like either one of them.
All right, well, that's a forthright answer, Miss Bryden. Or Bryden.
It's Miss Dunphy.
Oh, you two aren't married. I forgot.
That's right. Well, we're going to be. I'm going to propose to her tonight.
This come as a surprise to you, Miss Dunphy?
Yes. Oh, I didn't know.
Didn't know he was going to propose, huh?
No, I didn't. Yes, I am. Will you marry me? No, I don't think so.
Well, there you have a couple of our guests.
Why not?
Here.
Well, I just don't like the way you act. What do you mean you don't like the... What is this? After all the dough I spent on you, you don't like the way I act?
May have a little fight take place here,
well,
so...
I just don't think I want to
why don't we
spend the
go
rest of my life
back up to the great stage and see what's happening
hanging
there.
around water clothes.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. It's moments after we left our friends yesterday as Mary prepares to serve dinner to Harry, Pop, and Calvin in the saloon of the Rita B. Everyone seems to be in a happy frame of mind as we hear.
You know, it's awful wonder what there is about salt air that really whips up your appetite.
Oh, you're so right. I could eat a horse.
I could eat a bear.
What's on the menu, Mary?
Well, the only thing I could find, there wasn't much food on this ship, which makes me think that something bad befell Wolf Larson and his crew.
Oh.
All I could find was a slab of salt pork.
Salt pork.
Salt pork, eh?
Salt pork, eh? What else, Mary?
Well, water. And I filled up the big pot with water, and then I put in the slab of salt pork, and I let it simmer. And,
You know, there's something about salt air sometimes that kills your appetite.
I don't know as I'm so hungry now myself.
No,
You mean, Mary, that, in essence, we're going to have, quote, salt pork soup, unquote?
Is that what we're going to have, Mary?
well, pretty much. I added a few other things. There was some dried beans I added towards the end, and that's...
What's this over here on the plate? Hardtack?
I don't know what that is. It was there in the galley. I was just sitting there. I don't know what it is.
Uh-huh.
What do you think it is?
Well, it looks like crackers of some kind. Sea biscuits, maybe.
Looks like some kind of tile that you'd put on a floor.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty stale.
You mean that would be like a linoleum tile or some sort of a...
Well, that's what it looks like, yes.
Yes. Well, then don't eat it.
Let me ask you this, Mary. Are you hungry?
Yes, I am. I'm although I've been standing over a hot stove watching this salt pork, and somehow or other I'm not as hungry as I thought I was.
Uh-huh.
You see.
Uh-huh. Well, as for me, I think maybe I'll go above decks and get a bit of fresh air. How about you?
I think I'll go check out and make sure we're still on the straight course. There's nothing worse than going around in circles on a boat with nothing to eat but a bowl of salt pork soup.
Let me help you clear the table, Barry, and take the dishes back to the galley.
All right. Well, I don't know as we feel much better, but I know I feel a little bit better now.
I do, too. Contemplating that meal was a little bit too much there for a while. I can wait until we hit dry land.
See, what probably would be wrong with that soup, it's all one flavor, you know? Salt pork.
Salt pork flavor, yes.
You know what I'd like right now?
What?
One of those big Belgian waffles.
And so hunger disappears from our friends and then returns to Calvin in the desire for a Belgian waffle. And you'll want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear him say,
That's not a Belgian waffle.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. told to billboard the backstage?
Would you please?
Yes, of course. The backstages will
In
come
English.
along right after this.
And once again, it's time for Grand Motel, a speck of a place, a heck of a place, on Route 14 near Hadleyville, where the mountains meet the sky and living is easy as pie. As our story begins today, we find that uncompromising owner Leonard Humphrey has just finished wiping off the registration desk with a clean flannel cloth, when he suddenly looks up to see a weary stranger entering Grand Motel.
Yeah, hi there, stranger. You look a little weary. But luckily, I just finished wiping off the registration desk with a clean flannel cloth, so you can feel free to lean on it all you want while you're signing in.
Well, I'm not too sure I'm going to be signing in. So far, I'm just kind of shopping around for a place to stay. You see, I want to send a lot of picture postcards to all my friends and relatives tonight. Do you have plenty of free postcards in your rooms?
No, I'm sorry. We got good soft mattresses and plenty of hot water for you to take a shower, but a small motel like this doesn't have free picture postcards.
Daddy, wait a minute. I'm sure we could compromise with the man if you weren't so uncompromising. Please don't let him leave until we have a chance to discuss it.
Well, all right, Naomi. Can't see how we'll compromise when he wants picture postcards and we don't have any. But we can talk about it if you want.
What's a great-looking dame like that doing around a place that doesn't even have free picture postcards?
She's my daughter. I don't see what that has to do with my deciding not to get expensive postcards printed up for a small motel like this.
Oh, Daddy, I'm so glad I made it in time. You were just about to get into another argument with the man. And we need his business badly so we can afford a plumber to fix that leaky faucet in unit number 6.
Well, I wouldn't say I was arguing with the man, Naomi. I was just explaining why it's not practical for a small motel like this to have picture postcards printed up. I'm sure he can see how my position on that is reasonable.
Oh, that's reasonable, all right. But I'm also being reasonable when I say I don't want to stop at a place unless it has free picture postcards. So I'll see you around.
Well, hold on a minute now. Maybe Naomi's right, and there is some way we could compromise on this.
Oh, I'm sure there is, Daddy. The drugstore sells postcards with pictures of the courthouse on them. We could buy some of those for the man.
Yeah, I guess it might be worth it in the long run to hire a plumber and get that leaky faucet fixed. Or maybe the man doesn't want free postcards that have pictures of the courthouse on them and not the motel.
Oh, the courthouse is fine, just so they're free. In fact, I'd prefer it if my friends didn't see the kind of dump I'm staying in. So, just have about 50 postcards sent over to my room right away, will you?
Well, now, hold on there. Those postcards at the drugstore are going to cost me 10 cents apiece. Since I only charge $6 a night for the room, I can't give you 50 postcards.
Oh, Daddy, please don't take another of your uncompromising positions. You can just put the postcards on our charge account at the drugstore. And then we can have that leaky faucet fixed before we have to put out any actual cash.
Well, all right, Naomi. I'll buy 50 postcards and charge them.
You know, that dame has got brains as well as great looks. Who'd you say she was?
My daughter.
Well, I don't think that's what you told me before. But I won't pry into your affairs. Incidentally, you'd better get me 30 or 40 sheets of stationery, too. Some of the messages I have to write won't fit on a postcard.
All right. That means it's going to cost me about $8 to rent you a $6 room. But I don't see any alternative.
You know, buddy, I'm beginning to have my suspicions about this place. With all this free stuff, you must be cutting corners someplace else to make money renting your rooms at $6 a night. And I'd sure hate to find out after I check in that there's no free ice or sterilized glasses or clean bath mats. So I think I'd better look around for another place that meets my standards. So long.
Well, what can I say, Naomi? Must be a terrible disappointment to you.
Will Leonard Humphrey's uncompromising ways soon cause his daughter to turn against him, as his customers already have? Or will fixing the leaky faucet in unit number 6 prove to be the turning point in Leonard's life that he's been waiting for? Perhaps we'll learn more next time, when another weary traveler is welcomed to Grand Motel.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. On Friday, as Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin were sailing the Rita B steadily toward Key West, our friends were surprised to see a helicopter make several passes over the vessel, at the same time dropping what appeared to be advertising leaflets. Now, a short time later, we hear Calvin.
You know, it's hard to believe that, let's say a dry cleaner in Miami would hire a helicopter to drop leaflets over one boat out here in the ocean.
That's right. Of course, we don't know it is a dry cleaner, but
I suppose it's a supermarket. What difference
it
does
doesn't make any difference. It does mean we're getting close to
Oh, well, not just a minute.
land.
Many times years ago, I remember my brother, when he was given little flyers to distribute, used to just throw them down the sewer and say he delivered them.
Sure, just to get rid of them.
Maybe the helicopter pilot just flew out and said, well, let's dump them on the drink.
Well, that could be, I suppose, Mary, but they did seem to circle around in wide circles and drop them over a big area.
Yeah. Well, a couple landed on board.
Well, I think it'd be like finding a message in a bottle or something like that. I guess they figure fishermen would read them and respond.
It strikes me as funny, though. Can you imagine the poor businessman back there in Florida or wherever hiring a helicopter to drop leaflets over, say, a big shopping area and have them fly out over the ocean and drop them on us?
Yeah, it's a waste of money, all right.
It is funny. It's a good joke on whoever pulled it, of course.
Well, it is, and I guess maybe he'll learn sometime that his advertising message didn't get to where it was supposed to be.
One thing, of course, the paper, floats.
Yes, that's true.
And they could float back, and then the businessman who hired the helicopter could find his leaflets floating in the bay.
See, I've got an idea. Maybe the helicopter pilot knew the way of the tides. He knew that if he dropped them right here, they would be washed ashore at a certain spot where there's a big beach and a lot of bathers, and they'd be able to read the advertising message.
Oh, by then you mean that he dropped them intentionally so they'd drift in on the tide and bathers could find it?
It's possible. Certainly. There must be beaches nearby here along the Keys.
Maybe these things advertise some kind of a sunburn lotion.
Well, why don't you read one? Maybe we'll find out that way what it is.
Well, it says...
See if it is a dry cleaner or a liquor store or something.
This is an official warning. Clear these waters.
That doesn't sound very much like an advertisement for a cleaner, does it? No.
Not so far. Naval gun practice will commence in this area at 0930 hours. Repeat, naval gun practice will commence in this area at 0930 hours. This is an official warning. Clear these waters.
Well, that
doesn't sell me a thing.
Does it say any official name on there?
Wait a minute.
What?
We're targets. We're sitting fish.
And so our friends suddenly discover that they're in the middle of a naval target area. You ought to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Mary say,
"Oh, this is awful. Get us out of here."
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Next, Mary Backstage Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. As we left Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin yesterday, they had just discovered the Rita B is in the center of a naval target area. And now, as the firing seems to be increasing around them, we hear...
What do you mean? You mean to tell me that we're in the middle of a target area?
Well, that's what it begins to look like, Mary. Yes, that's...
Yeah, I can hear them.
That's certainly... those are shells, all right.
Well, wouldn't you think the helicopter pilot would have given us a little more time to get out of these waters? I don't understand it.
Do you suppose he saw us, actually, Calvin?
Sure he saw us. How could he miss us?
He was right above the vessel here, right above the Rita B.
It's hard to tell. You can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes until you've walked a mile in those shoes.
Oh, that's so very
true. What does that
true.
have to do with it?
Well, it's
that
true.
That has nothing to do about walking a mile in shoes. I mean, if he saw us, or he didn't see us. The point is, he should have given us more time anyway.
Boy, we must have been drifting off course to land up in the middle of a target area like this.
Could be. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know what waters we're in.
No,
As far as I know, we're far from dry Tortuga.
Well, we must be far from any land if they're running naval maneuvers out here.
Really, actually, it wasn't so scary. The colors are just beautiful. It's a regular kaleidoscopic waterfall of all colors of the spectrum.
Yes, I've seen many a 4th of July celebration that couldn't match this.
That was very nicely put.
You know,
Whoa,
those seem to be getting a little bit closer to us, don't they?
Yeah, it
I think
seems like
so.
they're zeroing in. You don't suppose they think we're at target?
Well, now, that's possible. We certainly don't look like a current kind of a boat. We look like a pirate vessel.
You did put it very nicely, Calvin. The kaleidoscopic waterfall of all colors of...
Wow!
Ooh, that was
Look
a
at that one.
beauty. Ooh, wasn't that nice?
Say, you don't suppose this is some kind of a bicentennial celebration, do you?
Oh, there's a...
Say.
Oh, isn't that pretty?
You mean maybe these are all duds, that they're just make-believe bombs
Oh,
and
these
shells?
are not duds. Not the way the water flowed up after they hit the surface.
Oh, they're the real thing, all right.
Speaking of the colors of the spectrum, how do they go? Now, you have your red and your white, your violet. That was a good one.
Violet's a combination of red and blue, I think.
Yeah,
That's
but
violet.
the spectrum goes... how does the spectrum go? Is it
Red,
red and then yellow
and
blue? And then don't forget green is in that spectrum. Yeah, look at that one. Wasn't that pretty? The green and the blue.
Well, that's yellow and blue together makes the green.
Is that so?
You know, I don't think we should be standing here looking at all of this fireworks. We should be trying to get out of the way.
Maybe we should try to get this boat moving along. Just to float along here and target is not the wisest thing ever.
I think that's right. Let's haul up the sails and try to make a run for it.
We've been hit.
So, just as our friends decide to try and get the Rita B out of the target area, Calvin calls that they have been hit. You want to be here tomorrow when he continues, and we'll hear...
Where are the lifeboats?
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Merry Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking.
Well, we're happy to say that we have a truly famous celebrity here at the microphones with us now. In fact, I suppose the name Fabian Glutnick has become a household term throughout, I guess, the entire civilized world. His book, I'm holding it up now to camera too, How to Sell the Product by Selling Yourself, has sold millions and millions of copies. Now, do you have any idea just how many millions, Mr. Glutnick?
Well,
Right on that camera, please.
the book has been translated into 31 languages now, and at last count, the sales totaled right around 108 million.
That's truly amazing. And, of course, the book has given rise to the whole Glutnick system of personality improvement.
That's right. There's a Glutnick School of Personality Development in almost every major city now. We're constantly taking in lawyers, doctors, and other men in mundane occupations and turning them into crackerjack salesmen.
And what's that term you use to describe the factor that's the key to the whole thing?
You're probably referring to extrovert thinking. That's the process of forgetting your own personal interests and concentrating on the interests of your client completely. It's a system that invariably succeeds in sales work. I could give you a little demonstration of it right here if you'd like.
Sure, that'd be wonderful.
All right. Now, let's assume I'm an insurance salesman and you're the prospect. I'll go out and come in again.
All right, but I warn you now, I'm known for my sales resistance. La-da-da-dum-dee-dee.
Well, you must be the Ray Goulding.
Yes, but whatever you're selling, I don't think I want any.
I'm not here on business, Mr. Goulding. I was calling on a client upstairs, and we got to talking about onion soup recipes, and this fella told me if I really wanted to know how to make onion soup, I ought to see Ray Goulding. He said you have a whole album full of onion soup recipes.
Well, I do, but gee, I never thought anybody'd be interested in them.
I can see that modesty is one of your traits, Mr. Goulding.
Well.
Incidentally, I just noticed that picture up on the wall there, the one of you holding a croquet mallet. That's a men's game, all right.
Well, I used to be pretty good at it. I won a club championship once up in Darien, but, oh gosh, that was a good many years ago.
Well, it may have been some years ago, but they're still talking about it.
Oh, who is?
Over at the Racket Croquet Club.
Yeah?
I had lunch there one day last week, and the name Ray Goulding was on everybody's lips.
Is that right? Well, I didn't know anybody remembered.
I overheard one of the instructors telling a pupil that if he practiced hard enough, he might develop into another Ray Goulding.
Holy smoke, really? That's wonderful.
Well, I got to be running along. Got to get home early so I can tell the wife and kids I met the Ray Goulding.
Wait a minute, Mr. Glutnick. I want to sign up for that policy.
I haven't even told you I sell insurance yet. I don't get around to that until the second call.
I want the biggest annuity you've got. The papers must be in your briefcase somewhere.
No.
Here, I'll use my own pen to sign.
Mr. Goulding, let go of my coat. This was only a demonstration.
I need a policy for my wife, too. Please, now, you got to sell me one.
Getting down on your knees won't help. You got to understand I don't really sell insurance. This is just a demonstration.
Whatever you're selling, man, I want 10 of them.
I got to get to another engagement now. Goodbye.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Yesterday, our friends found themselves in the middle of a naval firing range, with the Rita B as the principal target. Now, as the firing continues, shells hit all around them. We hear Calvin say,
Yes, sir? I think it's time that we look for a boat to get out of here. I'm not usually one to panic, but I think we're in a very untenable position here.
Yes, I think you're right, and we do have a lifeboat we can lower and get away from the Rita B. Maybe it is a target.
You're still captain of the ship, so whatever you say, Calvin.
How do you announce that we're going to take to the lifeboats, Calvin?
All hands to the lifeboat.
What does
but
that
there's
mean?
only the four of us, so that's silly. I'll be the last one, however, to step aboard the lifeboat.
All right, come on, Pop. We'll lower this davit over here.
You, Mary, will be first.
This one? Davit. Davit.
Davit?
Davit, that's
Davit?
what this is.
Oh, yeah, Davit.
Get aboard, Mary.
All right.
You're next, Pop. Okay.
You go, Harry. I go
I
last.
hate to leave you last, Calvin.
Well, that's what the captain has to do. He's the last one to leave the ship.
All right, here I go. I'm in. Come on, Calvin.
Well, I kind of hate... I'm just taking one last look around here to...
Well, come on, get in the lifeboat.
Well, I just want to take one long look and see if everything is... I better get going.
You'd better get in the boat.
All right, here I...
The sooner we can get a little distance between us and the Rita B, the safer we'll be. You in?
Sure.
All right. Yeah, hand me that oar there.
Mary, start lowering the davit.
We've already lowered the davit, Calvin.
You're in the water?
Sure.
Well, how can I get to the... Well, I'm confused.
Come on, let's start rowing. I'll take the other oar. What's the matter, Calvin?
Well, listen, when you get in a lifeboat, you get in it, then you lower it into the water.
Oh.
What is this?
Oh, all right. Well, let's lower it then.
All right.
I wondered how you're going to use the oar with the...
I was all confused. I was literally and figuratively at sea at that, Harry. Sometimes you're hard to follow.
Well, now, we're in the water now, certainly.
Yeah, now let's row.
Let's make tracks.
Over this way. You can't make tracks in the water.
No, it's just a figure of speech.
I know, but it's not a good figure of speech to use when you're at sea.
Well, which way should we row, do you think?
This way, and everybody keep their heads down. These missiles are getting lower and lower.
And closer they look like, too. I don't know how far we'll have to row until we can find land.
Look at this bubble. Does that mean there's a leak in this thing?
Let me see. Well, take a look at that, Calvin. I can't see from here.
Yeah, that's definitely a leak.
We are leaking, then.
We need a coffee can.
And so our friends take leave of the Rita B and head away in the lifeboats. And you'll want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Mary say,
Land ahoy!
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Oh, real feeling of spring here today.
Just threw open the windows to let some of that beautiful spring air come into the studio.
I think we should explain that the window we threw open is not the picture window. That is stationary in its
Can't
position.
throw that open. That's really stuck in there pretty good.
These are the windows in the dormers along the roof, the edge of the roof here at WOR
Kind of
Radio.
a picturesque little window. What kind of birds are those?
I don't know.
What kind of birds are those?
I guess they were
I haven't
sparrows.
seen a robin yet either. Have you this
No,
year?
well, I don't see them here in town.
No, I guess you wouldn't.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. It's a few hours after our last episode now as Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin in the Rita B's lifeboat row valiantly away from the area being used for naval gun practice. We hear Calvin say...
Keep rowing valiantly now. We gotta head for shore.
And keep your thumb in that hole so that water doesn't come in, Captain.
Oh, you don't have to call me captain. We're all good friends here. I feel silly being captain of a little dinghy like this.
Are you still technically captain after we leave the main ship that you were captain of and get into the lifeboat?
I think according to any book of maritime law, a captain is captain of a big ship, and he continues to be captain when they go overboard in a dinghy or a life raft or
I suppose
anything.
that would be true until we set foot on dry land.
Oh, I'm sure that's right, but let's not split hairs over that. The important thing here is to get to land.
You know what I just had a thought about? You know how long it's been since we've had a square meal?
It's been a long time. How long is it?
It goes back to when we were on the dry Tortugas, and we got aboard the Rita B. Mary, you tried to get some kind of food together. We couldn't eat it. Must be days now.
Well, trying to add them all up together, we haven't had a square meal in 10 days.
10 days?
10 days?
10 days? Yeah, I guess it'll be pretty near that.
I know you look a lot better, Harry, taking off a little.
Well, I
that way.
needed to take a little bit of weight off, of course, but this is kind of a hard way to do it.
It's done wonders for you, no doubt about it. However, hey, watch that water.
Well, keep your thumb in that hole there and keep the water out. You want me to take over for
Why
a while?
don't you, please?
All right,
Yeah.
let me move over.
Oh, hey, hurry up, get your finger in there.
Don't tip the boat over.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I'm kind of tired of rowing, aren't you?
Why don't we just rest for a while? Is there any sign of a bird or anything?
I haven't seen any, but I do notice that most of that firing has ended. Can't hear it. We must be out of that bad area we were in.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Wherever we land, I don't think I'm going to go to sea again for a long time.
No, I think I've had enough of the high seas for some time myself. Where do you suppose we will land?
Where do you suppose Captain Wolf Larsen is?
Well, I don't care about him.
I
I'm
don't
more
either.
concerned about us and which direction we're going in.
That was one thing to be worried about him when he was head of the crew, but forget it now that he's not around. I just hope that eventually they don't hold us responsible for his disappearance.
By they, who do you mean, Calvin?
The authorities. If anything has happened to Wolf Larsen and his crew, we were the last people to have been on that boat. We've been seen by the helicopter pilot. I don't mean to cause a lot of trouble here, but I think we're in serious legal difficulties.
Good thinking on your part. And so our friends continue to row. Hope that they'll hit dry land soon. And you want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Calvin cry out,
There it is!
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking.
Bob, I believe your adventure in dining out this week took you to a new and unusual French cafe right here in Manhattan.
It did, as a matter of fact, Ray. I had an evening full of surprises at Marcel's by the Sea, which just opened recently over on West 83rd Street.
Well, I think that one of the biggest surprises would be finding a restaurant on West 83rd called Marcel's by the Sea. There's no sea over in that neighborhood, as I recall.
No, that's true. I asked the owner about that. He had a logical explanation. He said his name isn't really Marcel, so he didn't think calling the place Marcel's by the Sea was any more dishonest than just calling it Marcel's.
No, well, I guess he's lying either way. But apart from that little bit of deceit, what other surprises did you find awaiting you at Marcel's by the Sea?
Well, the most intriguing thing for a person on a limited budget, and I am, is the fact that there are no prices listed on the menu. Besides that, the waiters pretend not to understand English, so you don't have any idea how much your meal costs until you receive the check.
Well, that really does lend a note of excitement to dining out.
It does.
I suppose it's quite possible to receive a check for more money than you're carrying at the time.
Yes, indeed, it is. Of course, printing the menu entirely in French means that most patrons don't know what they're ordering, in addition to not knowing how much it costs.
Well, that truly makes for an evening of adventure.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. It's shortly after yesterday's episode now as we join Mary, Harry, Pop, and Calvin in the lifeboat of the Rita B as they try to spot some small sign of land. And we hear, Calvin...
Wouldn't you say that off there, looking that way, birds, is that a sign of land?
Do you see birds there, Mary?
No, but I thought I did. Maybe it's one of those... Do you have a mirage on the ocean?
Oh, I guess you can, sure.
Oh, I thought mirage just happened in deserts.
No, you can have it on the ocean, too.
See, I look around here, and it looks just like one big hunk of water, but that's no mirage.
I thought I saw the flapping of little seagull wings a while ago.
You know what I'm thinking of now?
What's that?
A thick steak, about an inch and a half thick.
Even a thick prune shake wouldn't be bad.
And, red in the middle and black on the outside, crusty. Nice hot roll, nice hot rolls, nice salad.
Sure isn't the house of toast you're thinking about.
And French fried potatoes, or baked if you would.
You know what I'd like to do would be to wake up and find this has all been a dream, that all of the days in the dry Tortugas and aboard the Rita B was all in our imagination.
Big salad with nice tomato slices
well, we
in it.
can't do that.
Big
That would be
chunky blue cheese dressing.
That would be defeating our dramatic purpose, our dramatic promise to get
Big
through this thing all right.
Goblet full of a nice red wine.
Say, look over there.
Oh, would you stop that? You're driving me crazy.
Look, Mary.
What?
Look, there's the shoreline.
Where?
Over there, about 10:30.
I think she's right.
I think you're right.
You're
too,
right.
Harry.
I tell you, I am so confused. I don't even know my name.
Well, let's roll more swiftly and pull for the shore.
Hurry, men, hurry. Time is of the essence.
I hope there's a restaurant there.
Yes,
all
sir.
I can think about is food, too.
How about a big dish of butter pecan ice
Oh,
cream?
don't talk that way anymore, Calvin. Just roll.
Okay.
We should be able to make that land in just a few minutes.
I wonder what the mother of me is doing. She must be just worried sick about... You see, I'm her only boy.
Yes, I know that, and she hasn't seen you now for a couple of
We
months.
know all that, Calvin. For heaven's sake.
His mind is wandering a little,
Yes,
Mary.
he's been to sea too long. Been without food too long, too.
Yeah, been without food too long.
Well, we all have been without food too long, but maybe it's in sight. Maybe we'll get some food in the next few minutes.
I wonder what land we're heading for.
Yes, where do you suppose we'll set foot?
Well,
after
we
this?
left Dry Tortuga. I assume this would be Florida. I just guess.
Could be Florida, could be Louisiana, could be Texas.
Texas?
Could be Texas.
What do you mean, Texas?
Well, sure, if we went the other way in the Gulf of Mexico,
That's right.
that would take us into Texas.
Look, there's a sign over there. What does it say?
Welcome to...
And so our friends indeed spy dry land at last. But where are they? Be sure and join us on Monday when we'll discover where, when we hear Mary say,
I think they speak Spanish.
That's Monday in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Now, I think our audience will be interested in hearing about the spot you chose to visit this week for our dining out feature.
Well, technically speaking, I didn't dine out this week, Bob. I paid a call on the old plantation chicken takeout in Yonkers.
Oh, yeah.
And as the name implies, you merely buy the food there to take out and eat at home. But I'd heard that the southern atmosphere around the takeout counter makes the whole experience well worthwhile.
Well, we'd all be delighted to learn about a takeout place that has a touch of atmosphere, so why don't you give our listeners some information about it?
All right. That certainly will be just what I'll do. Now, there are authentic antebellum porch swings hanging from the ceiling for the use of patrons. And there's a recording of crickets chirping that adds a lot to the overall effect. And the girls only turn that recording down when they have to yell out a number that's ready to be picked up.
Well, I imagine the leisurely diner's almost reluctant to pick up his order and leave when the time comes.
Yeah, at least that was surely true in my case.
About the quality of the food, did it meet your usual high standards?
Yeah, each item was attractively put up in a separate cardboard carton, and the whole order was placed inside a large white sack. Of course, I'd ordered chicken breasts and whipped potatoes, and I found when I got home that they'd given me drumsticks and a 2-quart container of gravy with nothing to put it on. But outside of that, I was well pleased.
Well, I think most takeout restaurants make a practice of giving you the wrong order, so that's to be expected. And I suppose we'll both be setting forth once again this coming week in search of more of those little-known but truly first-class dining establishments around town. Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Yesterday, our friends at last set foot on solid ground and began a search for food and information as to their whereabouts. And it's moments later now as Mary, Harry, Calvin, and Pop contemplate their surroundings, and we hear Mary say,
Well, it looks to me like I think you're the winner, Pop. Doesn't that sign over there read kind of Spanish-like to you?
Yeah, that's in Spanish, all right. We must have landed in Mexico.
I can't believe that. Here we thought you were just some kind of a fool for thinking that it was Mexico we were going to land in.
This is a beautiful spot, though, if you look at the trees and the sky above and the mountains off there in the distance.
Well, at least, we're on firm ground. The point is that we're a long way from Skunk Haven and the House of Toast.
Yeah, we don't want to
my.
just start out through the trees not knowing where we're going.
If we ever a long way from home and House of Toast, why, we must be, well, thousands and thousands and thousands of miles.
Well, I guess,
no doubt about
guess
that.
we're that far anyway. Do you remember any of your Spanish, Mary? Maybe that would stand us in good stead. I know I took it for a short time, but I don't remember.
Well,
much.
I had a few courses in high school Spanish, but I don't know as I can recall anything. Oh, certain words like,
Por favor.
lucre and means money and things like that. Dinero is another one
Well,
for money.
once you start speaking Spanish, it'll all come back to you if we start, all of us, remembering a few words here and there.
Well, estoy todo rendido. Phew.
What do you mean by that, Calvin?
Oh, don't you know what that means?
No, say
Oh,
it
let me
again.
run it by you again.
Yep.
Estoy todo rendido. Oh,
Is there something?
Wait,
No?
estoy, I'm...
Does it mean, is there any hot water?
No,
No.
nothing like hot water.
Is it bigger than the bread box?
No, it's
Well-
a phrase. We're not playing a game, are we?
No, I think the best thing we can do is try to move. Look,
Means I'm all tired out. Estoy todo rendido.
oh, tired and hungry.
Try it.
Estoy todo rendido.
todo rendido.
You try it, Bob.
Estoy todo rendido.
Estoy.
Estoy.
Very good. I think...
Oh, I think we've got it.
Hey, look here.
What?
Look here.
What?
An automobile.
Hey, it is, and it's got Mexican number plates
A
on
real
it.
old junk, but, wonder if we could use this for transportation
Well,
to
let's-
get to the nearest village.
Let's get in and see if it starts.
All right.
Key is right here.
Just out of the blue, Sinton Nissan.
What was that?
Sinton Nissan. Without rhyme or reason, we found this car here.
SSO Toto?
What's that?
SSO Toto.
Sure.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Well, try and start the car.
Huelo algo. Huelo algo.
What's that mean?
I smell something.
So our friends ascertain that they have arrived at some part of Mexico and begin to brush up on their Spanish. Tomorrow they'll meet a stranger, and we'll hear Calvin say,
You mean we should watch out for the federale troopers?
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking.